this video is to go over symmetry. So the first thing I have them do is look at the examples and non-examples and discuss with their neighbor what the examples had that made them examples and what the non-examples had that made them non-examples. Most of them were able to come up with that, if it was cut in half on that line for the examples, that both sides are the same, and that is not true for the non-examples. I then introduced the words symmetry and asymmetric, so the examples are symmetric and the non-examples are asymmetric. I had them turn and talk to their neighbor about how they would define symmetry, which our definition is a figure is symmetrical if it can be folded on a line of symmetry to form two congruent halves that fit on top of each other, thus showing a reflection of each other. And I told them those are a whole bunch of big math words. What did they think it really meant? And they were able to tell me that shape is symmetric if you can cut it in half and both sides are exactly the same. Just kind of more corporate terms. Then we talked about a line of symmetry, a line that can be drawn through a figure so that one side is a mirror image or a reflection of the other. It is also known as the fold line. Lines of symmetry can be viewed three ways, and I had them look back at the first slide to try to decide what the three ways were, and they were mostly able to tell me horizontal, diagonal, and vertical. And we talked about how diagonal didn't necessarily only mean going these two directions. Any variation of those would also be diagonal. Anything that's not horizontal straight across or vertical straight up and down would be considered diagonal for this purpose. So we talked about, I showed them this and said which line of symmetry would this be, and they were able to tell me that it's horizontal and that the B is the example and the triangle is the non-example. For this one, they said it's diagonal symmetry because the square is the example and the half circle is the non-example. And then this one is vertical symmetry. The triangle is the example and the parallelogram is the non-example. We talked about, can we draw a line of symmetry on this card? And most of them, we went through each one and I said, can you draw a horizontal? And we drew it and said, no, that wouldn't be the same. Could we draw a diagonal? Either way, no, that wouldn't be the same. Could we draw a vertical? And yes, we could. So it has one line of symmetry and it's vertical. We looked at this and they kind of laughed when I said, can we draw a line of symmetry? And they saw immediately that you could not. No matter which way we still tried. No matter which way you draw it, you still cannot draw. It's not the same on both sides. We looked back at the heart shape and we noticed again that it could only be vertical lines of symmetry. Because if it's a horizontal, it does not work, and if it's diagonal, it does not work as well. We talked about how many lines of symmetry on the following figures. So we would draw, that has one. Well, we can't do a horizontal one because that wouldn't work. We talked about how we could draw a line through each of the vertices through the middle of the other side, and that would all work. So we would number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not 6. We've already labeled that on the top. Excuse me. So the pentagon has 5 lines of symmetry. The A, you could only do 1, and that's the vertical, 1 line of symmetry. The arrow as well, you could only do 1, and it's a vertical line of symmetry. And that is symmetry. Very simple. Most of them got it really easy.